Hi, Dawn Epting here. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching. I wanted to come and share from the topic. You don't need to be a part of the crowd in order to be divinely elevated into your purpose and destiny. You don't need to be a part of the crowd or the approval of the crowd, even, in order to be divinely elevated into your purpose and destiny. So often when we're going through seasons or periods of isolation, we may not be, have the friendships or associations that we once had. We may not be invited to group gatherings or activities, and we wonder if we've missed it. If we've done something wrong, why are we in this season of isolation? And I've written some notes here, but one of the quotes that I've written here and it's been attributed to various people, so I won't attribute it to anyone. But the quote simply states, "A man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back on the crowd." A man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back on the crowd. So, what does that mean? We'll get into that in a moment, but feel free to hit subscribe button beneath this video and hit the bell to receive notifications for future videos. And you can look below the video to see how you can get involved in some of the things that are going on here. And thank you for your insight and comments in advance. So what does that mean? A man who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back on the crowd, or a woman who wants to lead the orchestra must turn her back on the crowd. So first, I've written 3 points here. Focus on the task at hand and your team rather than seeking approval or applause from the audience. Focus on the task at hand and your team rather than seeking approval or applause from the audience. Sometimes when you're operating in the purpose and plan for your life, you may receive no applause, but it's your job to focus on the task at hand. The task at hand would equate to your purpose, and your team would equate to your tribe. So why is that important? Because often when we start operating in our purpose, we will find our team or our tribe. One of the best ways to find the people that are meant to walk with you in life or in this season is to start operating in your purpose, and then your tribe will find you. So we have to operate in our purpose in order for our tribe or team to find us. And so many people say, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I'm not sure. What is that thing that ignites passion in you? Either positive or negative, if you will. What is that thing that you could do effortlessly if money was not an issue and you could do it all day? Sometimes we reason it out in our mind because we wonder, how will I make a living from doing this thing that I know that I enjoy? But what could you do from sun up to sundown if money were not an issue? What ignites a fire in you? And on the flip side, in terms of quote unquote negative, what are the injustices that you see in the world that you want to address, that compels you, that ignites a fire in you, that makes you want to move to action? So often we know our purpose, but my experience in working with clients and people over the years is that so often reason gets in the way. Instead of that gut feeling, that intuition in terms of what our purpose and our passion is, we began to reason out why we can't operate in it, why we can't make a living doing it. So focus on the task at hand or your purpose and your team, which is your tribe that will find you. Focus on the task at hand and your team rather than seeking the approval or applause from the audience. So the audience would represent onlookers, people who have nothing to do with your purpose necessarily. They could simply be spectators. Number 2, a conductor leads an orchestra by facing the musicians, not the audience behind them, symbolizing that true leadership requires turning away from distractions and focusing on the responsibilities at hand. And the responsibilities at hand could be your purpose. So, a conductor leads an orchestra by facing the musicians, not the audience, symbolizing that true leadership involves turning away from distractions and focusing on the responsibilities at hand. So, as we operate in our purpose, or as we begin to operate in our purpose, often distractions will come. They can be huge distractions, they can be small distractions, they can be those things that simply irritate you, that may impede your progress or the timing in which you complete operating in your purpose. But essentially, we have to eliminate distractions. We have to face our team, operate in our purpose, and not focus on the distractions that may be behind us. Because often the distractions are behind us. They're not necessarily ahead of us because the future has not yet occurred. We may worry about the future, but often we ruminate on and we, replay scenes from the past over and over in our minds. Number 3, effective leaders must sometimes make unpopular decisions, staying committed to their vision. Effective leaders must sometimes make unpopular decisions, staying committed to their vision. So sometimes when you're operating in your purpose, or when you're leading the orchestra, so to speak, and keeping your back turned to the crowd, sometimes you'll have to make decisions that are unpopular. But that's what effective leadership is. And this is where things like people pleasing, approval addiction come into play. When we have our minds set on operating in our purpose, we don't care about the criticism that comes with making unpopular decisions. Similarly, we don't care about the praise that comes with making popular, quote unquote, popular decisions. We have to take both of them with a grain of salt. We can accept the kind words or compliments, but not allow those to define us any more than we would let criticism define us. So, you haven't made a mistake. You're right where you need to be. You're right in the midst of the vision, the plan, the purpose for your life being fulfilled, even if you're not a part of the crowd. You haven't necessarily made a mistake. Your vision and your purpose, the plan for your life, was created before the foundation of the world. So I've often heard Tom Caron talk about the messy middle in his videos. Not to be, so often we start off in life with a purpose. It may be for our family, for our business, for a relationship. And there's chaos that may ensue due to something, someone else may have done, or circumstances beyond our control. And we get so caught up on focusing in what is happening in the interim instead of the beginning and the ending. Knowing how we started, knowing what our intent was, what our vision was, and focusing on the end result that we desire, focusing on the completion of our desire, visualizing that, feeling that. So we have to know that our vision and purpose were created before the foundation of the world. Before the adverse, messy middle, so to speak, circumstances that we see now. That's why in scripture we see, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. We don't hear anything about the middle, because the middle, doesn't matter if we stay focused on how we started, our intent when we started, and what we desire the end goal to be, then we will realize it. We will manifest it or realize it in our lives. And finally, the right people who align with your purpose will be sent to you when you start operating in it. And we've already alluded to that. Your tribe will find you when you set aside fear, operate in the passion that's in your heart without regard to how it makes sense, how you will make money, how you will survive. There's a scripture that says that a man's gifts make room for him and bring him before great men. So thank you guys so much as always. Feel free to leave your comments below. Look below the video to see how you can get involved. And I look forward to doing these videos more regularly. Again, getting back on track with that and talking to you guys soon. Have a great one.